Hi there, this is a little video to show you how to use your water quality test kit. You'll be doing it at your dugout or your agricultural pond. I'm at a river, but just imagine that this is the same as your agricultural pond. So as we arrive, we're first going to look around and do the context. So go ahead and in your kit, get your notepad out and fill out the contextual questions at the top. The weather, there's a little bit of a visual assessment, the weather yesterday, those sorts of things, because that can all affect water quality. I also suggest as you're learning to get your field guide out and follow along at the steps that I'm going to go through. It also has more details that I may not go through and give you some details on what your results might mean. All right, we're going to start with our testing. So we'll get our sample cup out and our reacher stick, and you can attach your reacher stick like so, making sure you don't put your fingers inside the cup. We want to keep that clear. Extend it out. Now I'm going to rinse it 3 times in the water I'm going to be testing. That just gets any contaminants out of the cup. 2, 3. And then I'm going to take a sample approximately 15 centimeters below surface, or as deep as you can get without disturbing the bottom if it's shallow. Got our sample. Now you can keep it, if you have an assistant, you can have them hold it, or you can slide it off gently downwards like so. Put your reacher stick away. And the first one you're going to do is your conductivity, because it also does water temperature. And as it comes out of the water, it's going to be changing temperature with the air, so we want to make sure that we do water temperature first. To turn it on, press the top button once, and it's going to cycle through, and it's going to have 2 measures. So you'll see the top right now is 0. That's because it's doing the conductivity of the air, which is 0, so it might be 1 or 2, that's fine. And then the bottom is the temperature. So as we put it in, pour a bit of water out there, you'll see the top number changes. Ours is about 419. I swirl it around a little bit until it stabilizes. Now, because you're in Saskatchewan, you may have more salinity than us. That's the salts. So if you notice a decimal place, look at that US in the corner there. If it switches to MS, that means it's you have to multiply your results by 1,000. So if it says 1.23, that's actually 1,230. So once that's stabilized, we're going to record down our conductivity. So we would have 422 in microsiemens per centimeter. And then the temperature is actually 15.8. I can't believe it's that warm. Wow, excellent. So once you're done that, go ahead and take it out. I would also highly recommend that you rinse this in some tap water when you get home, just to maintain its life. Go ahead and turn that off, put that back. And you'll do the same thing. I don't have batteries in my pH meter right now, but you're going to do the same thing with your pH meter. This one takes a little bit longer to stabilize, and it also needs more constant calibration. So do talk to the people at University of Regina on how you can do that. But it also has the pH and the water temperature. All right, so we've done those. Now we're going to do dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen is really important. When we get algal blooms, oftentimes the algae will eat up all the oxygen in the water, and that's when you get things like fish kills and those sorts of things. So this is a really important one for you. You want to keep your comparator chart here in the dark when you're not using it, but while we're using it, you can have it out. So I like to take my comparator chart out. So it's a hard pull, harder than you probably think. And then to put it in, put the top in first and then press down. So we'll take that out like that. Get that out. And then I'm going to take out one of these ampoules from here. Like so. And in here is just a little bit of liquid that responds to how much oxygen is in the water. And it turns more blue the more oxygen is in it. Make sure, again, we keep these in the dark. And then we have a really special little sample cup for this exercise. And you're gonna notice little ridges in the bottom here. And what we're gonna actually do is we're gonna take our sample, and then you'll see there's a white line here. We're gonna insert the tip in one of those things, and we're just gonna lever it forward to break the tip, okay? Now, as I take this out of the water, it's being oxygenated by the air. So for the most accurate results, we want to do this test quickly. It's more important that you do it quickly than any set measure in here. Okay, and then I'm going to, as deep as I can, I'm gonna take it out, put it in here, and just look, I'm just gonna pull it like that. And it sucks up the water. Now I did it a little bit slower. I think as you practice, you'll get faster. But yeah, you can see that it's not a hard press. So I'm going to invert it 2 times like this. The bubbles going up and down. And then I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. Now, the little glass tip is still in here. We don't want to put this in your pond. So I'm going to pour this out very slowly, leaving the tip in the bottom. And then you can put that in the garbage bag that we provide in here. While we're waiting our 2 minutes, you can do your Testkit tube here. Now this is for water clarity, and basically we're going to fill it up to the top, and then we're going to see if we can see that little Testkit disc there in the bottom of the tube after we filled it up. So I anticipate in this one we'll be able to see the bottom, but in your cases you might have a little bit more turbid water, and you might need a different reading. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, fill that up right to the top. I don't have it quite to the top with my hand. I can use the sample cup to fill it. Then we're going to peer down the top, and I can see the bottom. I can see that little shape there. So our reading will be 14. If you can't see the bottom, start pouring out a little bit of water. Keep peering down until you can see it again. So that'll be your reading for the turbidity tube in the unit is NTU. All right, so our 2 minutes is up for our water, our dissolved oxygen. So we'll go ahead and do that. So what I like to do is I like to start at the bottom and I work my way up, tilting to check where it matches. Definitely is harder as you go up. And so I'm going to say it's between 8 and 10. So I would record a 9. Now, it's more important that you notice if it's low, medium, or high, and that those low readings are really problematic. So those are the ones that we want to pay attention to. Again, put this in the little garbage can that we provide you. So we'll put this away. And then we're going to do our nutrient tests now. We have our sample. So we have phosphates, and this one's going to be 5 minutes to test, and the nitrates, which is going to be 3 minutes. And how I do it to save time, to get really efficient, I'll do my phosphate test first, wait 2 minutes, do my nitrate test, and then I can read both at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and get these out. A bit hard to open sometimes. You want to keep these in your little Ziploc bags, and the reason is we don't want to get any moisture on the samples, so that's why they're in little Ziplocs. Got my phosphate and nitrate tests. If you're unsure which one's which, you can also look here. It says PO4, that's the phosphates. And then this one says NO3, that's the nitrates. Okay, let's do our phosphate test first. We're gonna pull the top thing out here. Put it in your little garbage can. You can recycle that if you like. And then we're going to, like a turkey baster, we're going to squeeze all the air out, stick it in our sample, and then suck up water so that it's halfway. A little bit above, a little bit below is okay. The volunteers or the summer students should have given you a practice one so you could practice this one. So we're going to invert it a few times, let that reagent in there dissolve, and then set our timer for 5 minutes. And just put it down. So once 2 minutes is up, we're going to do our nitrate test. Pull your little tab out. It's the same process. Into the garbage can. I like to invert my hand. So there's the opening there that we're going to suck it into. I invert my one hand like this. Squeeze with 2 big thumbs. Suck it up. Halfway. And don't worry if you don't get this perfectly the first time. It does take a little bit of practice. But I promise you, after a few practices, you'll get the hang of it. All right, and we'll set our timer, and then once we're done, we'll be done all our testing when we have these results. So for nitrates, again, I'm going to start at the end, start moving it down in between. I go all the way to the end and then back up, and then I try and find that sweet spot. And I believe it's right between these two here. And you'll see there's a number written right between, so you can reference the number there. So it's 0.75 is our result for nitrate nitrogen. All right. Now you've written all your results in your notepad. You're going to transfer them to the website when you get home, or you can use the iOS app if you have an Apple phone. Unfortunately, we don't have an Android app yet, so you'll have to do it on your computer if you have an Android app. And when you get home, you're going to squeeze these into your sink, and then you can put these in either the recycling or the garbage, depending on what your local waste rules are. For the dissolved oxygen, that one will have to go into the garbage as well. And make sure that you keep everything clean, rinse off anything that you might think, if you're having issues with your pond, make sure everything is all nicely rinsed off and ready for your next test.